Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. السيدات والسادة، أرجو من حضراتكم التفضل بالجلوس. شكرا. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. السيدات والسادة، أرجو من حضراتكم التفضل بالجلوس. شكرا. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The opening ceremony is about to begin. Thank you. السيدات والسادة الكرام، نرجو من حضراتكم التفضل بالجلوس في مقاعدكم. حفل الافتتاح على وشك البدء. شكرا. Ladies and gentlemen, could everybody take a seat? If you are standing at the side, please take your seat. السيدات والسادة، نرجو من الجميع التفضل بالجلوس. إذا كنتم تقفون على الأطراف، يرجى من حضراتكم أخذ مقاعدكم. شكرا.
Number 8, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, opening ceremony is about to begin. Please everybody take your seats. السيدات والسادة، حفل الافتتاح على وشك البدء. نرجو من الجميع التفضل بالجلوس.
And in 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, opening ceremony is about to begin. Please everybody take your seats. السيدات والسادة، حفل الافتتاح على وشك البدء. نرجو من الجميع التفضل بالجلوس.
na wifi. Pag talagang yung ibang wifi, malakas style na gagamit ko. Yung
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, opening ceremony is about to begin. Please everybody take your seats. السيدات والسادة، حفل الافتتاح على وشك البدء. نرجو من الجميع التفضل بالجلوس.
Something is wrong. And deep down, we all know it. Look around. How did we get here? How do we get out of it? What would it take? Is it more fighting?
Your Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar, Your Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman bin Jassim al-Thani, Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar, Heads of State, Heads of Government, First Ladies, Ministers, distinguished guests, and dear friends, a very warm welcome to the Doha Forum. I'm Rida Fakhri, and it is my honor to be back here in Doha for the forum's 22nd edition, as we continue to build on its long tradition of dialogue, diplomacy, and diversity. But dialogue, diplomacy, and diversity aren't enough in a world that seems addicted to divisions and dysfunction. This year's theme is the innovation imperative. In a world that is changing at a dizzying speed, our global system is struggling to keep up. Many of our institutions are failing to adapt. Our system keeps blinking red. The warnings are deafening, yet we find ourselves stuck in an endless cycle of repetition, of comfort, of stagnation. From the global north to the global south, there is a real crisis of faith and trust in our institutions. As we face so many common challenges and dangers and stand on the precipice of several regional wars and conflicts, from the Middle East to the Sahel region to Europe, it has become imperative to find new ways, new approaches to solve our problems, our differences, our crises. Simply put, we must innovate in order to adapt, to survive, in order to make it. The choice is stark: innovate or face irrelevance in a world that does not wait for anyone. As H.G. Wells, the famous author, famously wrote in 1945, at a momentous crossroads in our history, adapt or perish, now as ever, is nature's inexorable imperative. It is no longer an option. The world is constantly changing, and those who do not want to be left behind simply have to change with it. This is an opportunity to disrupt the status quo, to go outside of our comfort zones, to find, or better still, to create new, innovative ways to solve some of the world's urgent existential issues. But how do we apply the power of innovation to the most pressing challenges we face? From wars and conflicts to climate insecurity to the global order itself, how do we shift to a more open, collaborative, cross-cultural model of innovation? How do we turn endless talk into measurable progress for all? Because frankly, the world is drowning in talk. It's bold action that we so desperately need. So as we convene once again to rethink and reimagine the world not as it is, but as it can and should be, we must have the courage, determination, and bold vision to try new approaches, to fix the glaring inequalities of our system, norms, and institutions, to ask ourselves, are the organizations that represent us today still fit for purpose? To dare to disrupt and reinvent, not carry on with business as usual. It takes creativity and resilience to propel ourselves into a more promising, shared future for all nations, big and small. What happens if we do not try? What will replace the current world order if we wait too long to reshape a long, outdated, anachronistic system? Do we sit back and accept the shortcomings of our global order? Do we stay idle? Can we afford the luxury of inaction in a world on fire? Do we remain silent, settle for more of the same? Do we sit back and simply wait for change to happen? Do we step back into safety, or do we step forward into growth? As Steve Jobs once said, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. So are we ready to be crazy enough to challenge the status quo, or will we keep playing it safe while the world spins out of control? So once again, we meet here in Doha, not just to talk and brainstorm and network, but to take action. Let's make this moment a moment for disruption and constructive engagement. Many of the world's leading think tanks and media organizations are here. They've partnered with the Doha Forum to make this a global platform for dialogue, collaboration, and action. But partnerships and platforms mean nothing without bold steps and courageous decisions. So are we ready to take them? The Forum is proud to have the continued support of its sponsor, the Qatar Investment Authority. It is also grateful to its travel partner, Qatar Airways. Without much further ado, I would like to invite to the stage to open the 22nd Doha Forum, His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman bin Jassim al-Thani, Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar. Your Excellency.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Your Highness, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may Allah's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the State of Qatar as we come together to mark the 22nd edition of the Doha Forum. This forum has gone beyond being a space for exchanging views to becoming a global platform for bringing together leaders, addressing global challenges, and redefining solutions at a time when challenges are intertwined and paths are becoming more complex. In a world where events have accelerated and crises have intensified in an unprecedented manner, we must return to the fundamental principles while devising new innovative solutions for peace, stability, and development. Hence, our choice of this year's theme for the Doha Forum, the Innovation Imperative, reflects our recognition of the profound challenges facing humanity and the world's need for a new vision that foresees the future and effectively addresses reality. Returning to core facts and then tackling intractable problems with a creative spirit has become an urgent necessity. Previous experiences have proven that adhering to traditional approaches when dealing with intractable crises only leads to reproducing the same challenges and perhaps even exacerbates them. Therefore, we must turn towards innovative solutions for various root issues: political, security, environmental, and other issues, beginning with the root causes, while taking account of core principles, utilizing available tools, and exploring the opportunities offered by emerging technologies. Esteemed audience, today, we gather at a fateful crossroads for the entire world. Either we succumb to the cycle of violence that is ravaging many regions across the globe, including our own, or we innovate new methods and solutions that not only put an end to the current violence, but also lay a solid foundation for sustainable peace and equitable prosperity, ensuring stability for future generations. There is no doubt that what we are witnessing in the Gaza Strip today is a stark example of this violent cycle and an unprecedented humanitarian tragedy, even a genocide unfolding before our eyes that will have serious repercussions that threaten the stability of the entire region, as evidenced most prominently in Lebanon. This compels us to ask fundamental questions about the effectiveness of traditional approaches in dealing with conflicts. These questions grow more urgent with each passing day. Ladies and gentlemen, the humanitarian tragedy in Gaza continues with its repercussions extending to Lebanon and Syria, making it essential to exert every possible effort to bring it to an immediate end. The success of the temporary pause achieved through joint mediation efforts by the State of Qatar, the Arab Republic of Egypt, and the United States of America, leading to the release of hostages and alleviating human suffering, demonstrates that diplomatic action can succeed when the necessary will is present. This success is further reinforced by other accomplishments delivered by the State of Qatar, such as reuniting children affected by the war between Russia and Ukraine with their families, offering a practical and scientific example of how innovative diplomacy can achieve tangible results. These successes reflect our vision of addressing crises through a comprehensive, human-centered approach, an approach that considers the various dimensions of conflicts, humanitarian, economic, political, and field-related. It focuses on partial solutions that pave the way for holistic resolutions and breaks down the root causes of conflict into actionable components that can be effectively managed. The successive crises have revealed the vast gap between traditional methods and systems on one hand and the rapidly evolving contemporary challenges on the other. Today, the world is in urgent need of advanced institutions for international cooperation that go beyond traditional frameworks, relying on principles of justice and inclusivity while taking full advantage of the tools offered by the digital age. Esteemed audience, we must take a serious and explicit stance in the face of the changes of our time. We are living in an era of tremendous technological advancement, and while these advanced technologies offer vast potential, they also bring emerging challenges and threats, such as the potential misuse of artificial intelligence, digital finance, unmanned aerial and maritime vehicles, and other new technologies and innovations. Therefore, we must take all necessary measures in order to ensure that these technologies remain tools for driving economic development and means to promote peace and human well-being. However, the painful irony lies here. How can a world that prides itself on its technological achievements stand helpless in the face of the suffering of civilians in conflict zones? And how can an international community that speaks of innovation fail or struggle to find effective mechanisms to protect lives and ensure the delivery of humanitarian aid? Esteemed audience, your presence at this forum, comprising decision makers, innovators, thinkers, and civil society leaders, reaffirms our deep belief that innovative solutions arise from the interaction of ideas as well as the integration of visions and experiences. The Doha Forum is not merely a platform for dialogue, but a venue for creativity, a laboratory for innovative ideas, and a launching pad for the solutions that humanity needs today. We have the ability to strengthen our ethical foundations and find solutions to today's challenges with renewed thinking and innovative visions. In an era of major transformations, innovation is no longer a choice. It has become an existential necessity for survival and progress. As the saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention, not only in the field of science and engineering, but also in peace building and diplomatic efforts. Institutions and nations that cling to the methods and tools of the past will find themselves outside the sphere of influence in shaping events and their developments. However, true innovation must remain directed to serving all of humanity, striving to achieve peace, justice, and prosperity for all without exception. I invite you all at this forum to explore new horizons for collective action. The future of humanity depends on our ability to innovate in the pursuit of peace and sustainable development. And may Allah's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you all.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for highlighting so many of the important reasons we are all gathered here today, to do more and to do more in different ways to prevent another painful chapter in our history, like the one unfolding today in Gaza before our own eyes. One of the key drivers of the Doha Forum is to inspire in us the ability to act as catalysts for change. Every year, the Forum recognizes and honors the work of vital organizations and courageous individuals who not only dream about doing things to make life better for their communities, but who actually do it, especially in these difficult times, war and conflict. This year, the Doha Forum is shining a light on the work of 6 individuals who have each left an indelible mark, not just on our mobile phones and screens, but on the world's conscience, despite their own personal losses and deep challenges. They have done it through their brave and unflinching dedication to the pursuit of the truth, and through their unwavering commitment to their own profession and the ideals which it represents. They've also done it for the memory and the sacrifices of their colleagues who were less fortunate than them. This year's Doha Forum is a tribute to these 6 journalists and photographers who have documented some of the most painful and defining moments of our time. It's also a recognition for the sacrifices that so many have done. It is the 4th annual award of the Doha Forum, and again this year, it couldn't have gone to more worthy recipients. The prize money will be donated on behalf of the awardees to the Rory Peck Trust, which is an international non-profit organization that supports freelance reporters, particularly on issues of mental health following their deployments in conflict zones. It is now my distinct honor to invite to the stage to present the 2024 Doha Forum Award to the awardees, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar. We are fortunate to have with us this year's 6 recipients who will accept the award from the Emir. Please welcome Wael al-Dahdouh, a Palestinian journalist and bureau chief of Al Jazeera in Gaza. Many of you recognize Wael, a symbol of commitment and resilience. He continued to report on air, live, every minute, every day from Gaza amid the ruins and the devastation, and following his personal loss, the loss of his wife and son, and so many others. Warm congratulations to Wael Al-Dahdouh. May I invite to the stage our second recipient, Motaz Azaiza, a Palestinian photojournalist from Gaza whose body of work over the last year or more has drawn a huge following on social media. He has become to millions of people around the world the eyes and ears of Palestinians in his hometown of Gaza. His photographs have captured every raw and heart-wrenching moment of this horrific war. And here he is to accept his award. Congratulations to Motaz. And may I now invite to the stage Carmen Joukhadar, a Lebanese journalist working with Al Jazeera. She was injured in Israel's shelling of southern Lebanon last year, despite, as you saw in the film, being clearly identified as a member of the press. Carmen has been a journalist and news reporter for 15 years, based in Beirut. Mabruk to Carmen. On to our next awardee, Dylan Collins, the chief video journalist in Beirut for the French news agency Agence France Presse, AFP. Based in the Middle East for the last 15 years, he is fluent in Arabic. He was wounded by shell fire while covering cross-border clashes in South Lebanon. He also suffered an injury while on assignment in Ukraine. Congratulations to Dylan. Our next awardee is Sadaf Popalzai, an Afghan journalist working as a presenter and host for various programs in Afghanistan. She is the manager of 2 radio stations in her native country, where she continues to play a significant role in the media industry. Congratulations to Sadaf. And last but not least, Christina Haasi, a Lebanese photojournalist and photo editor with AFP. Christina was severely wounded in an Israeli tank shell attack in October 2023 while reporting from South Lebanon. Some of you will remember her. She participated in the 2024 Olympic torch relay in Paris as she honored the journalists killed or wounded in the field. Warm congratulations to Christina. May I now ask all of the awardees to please join His Highness the Emir for a group photo in recognition of the extraordinary work that you all do. Thank you very much indeed, Your Highness. May I ask you to please retake your seat, Your Highness. Many thanks for presenting these awards to these worthy recipients, highly deserved and highly achieved awards at this Doha Forum. Now, while all of these award recipients take their place on stage, may I invite our moderator of the next session to join them on the stage, Yalda Hakim, a journalist who has covered so many hotspots around the world, previously with the BBC, now with Sky News. Yalda, welcome. Every one of these award winners, Yalda, true role models, aren't they, for aspiring journalists, the younger generation of journalists who look up to them and the work they do. absolutely epitome of courage. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a great honor to be on this stage with these extraordinary journalists who, as we've seen, have been bearing witness and have been a window for the world to the horrors that we've seen globally, but of course in this region as well. I'd like to begin with you, Wael, because of course it's difficult to sum up what you've been through in the past year. You've been covering the situation in Gaza for decades, but the last year has been different. You've lost colleagues, you've lost your wife, your daughter, your son, your grandson, your brother's children, and only hours after burying them, you went straight back to work and appeared on camera. Can you tell me why?
First of all, allow me to salute His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad, Their Excellencies, here in the Doha Forum. I would like to thank you for this award. This is an award for all colleagues, for all journalists, not only to me. Specifically to martyrs, I would like to name my colleague Ismail Al-Ghul and my comrade Samer Abu Dakka, and my son Hamza Al-Dahdouh, who is also a colleague, not only my son, and all the wounded, those who were detained, and those colleagues who are still there on the ground undertaking this difficult mission despite all the challenges and difficulties that they face. I personally consider this award, this recognition from the State of Qatar and His Highness the Emir, is the second acknowledgement or award. My first recognition or award was when I received a letter from His Highness Sheikh Tamim and His Highness Sheikh Hamad and Sheikh Hamad bin Thamer as well, at a very important moment, a life-changing moment for me. It was a difficult moment, a sensitive moment, a very painful moment. It is not easy for a person when they are a journalist, when they are incentivized, when they are encouraged to conduct their mission in all they have of energy, to understand what is happening in a region like Gaza. Gaza is a besieged territory, but today it is completely destroyed. It is under genocide. As a journalist, your mind is always controlled by the idea that you are undertaking a journalistic mission. However, at the same time, you are conducting your duty, because at the end of the day, there are millions of people who are waiting for your story to understand what is happening. They are awaiting the information that you will be disseminating. They are waiting for the picture that you are trying to portray, to show that there is an attempt to stifle this story and this picture. It is not easy to continue having this courage, this steadfastness, while at the same time, in the same minute, your whole life stops at a halt while you are live on air and you receive a call telling you that your family has been targeted. You go to the area where your family was targeted, you find complete destruction, you find no light, you cannot find anyone, you cannot find your wife, you cannot find your family. There's only dust, there's only the smell of ammunition, and this is the only thing that you find. And here, time simply stops. And you can only see challenges or obstacles as a journalist and also as a human. But at the end of the day, it is your duty to take up this challenge. And this adds further responsibility to your work, further complications to your job. These complications are things that you might not have thought of. And not everybody can bear these challenges, to be honest. But now, at this moment, you have to answer a very realistic question. What will you do? Now, Your family is torn apart. It is dispersed all over the place. Some of them died. Some of them are wounded. They need to be taken care of. They need you to be a father to them. While you lost this fatherhood over years of work, what will you choose? Will you choose your family, and that is a duty, or will you choose your job? You will choose to continue this humanitarian mission that you are on. Without any hesitation, my answer personally was, I want to move on, whatever the repercussions. I think that the highest price that you may pay as a journalist and as a human, I have paid already. What does it mean that you choose a tent or a hospital bed? This does not mean anything. It will mean only one thing. It means that you lost the challenge and you lost your beloved ones. And this is a given. That is why one of the most important things that pushed me to continue and to keep moving with my mission is it is the blood of those people, their story, their pain. That is sure, because they paid the price. They sacrificed for me and for this cause and for this people, because they let go of my role as a father, as a source of strength, of security. They let go of all of this just for me to conduct my mission. So when they are killed in this manner specifically, we cannot accept to be weak, to isolate ourselves, to disappear from the media scene. This is simply unacceptable to us. It doesn't exist in our minds. That is why the answer was, we shall continue with our mission. However, I cannot hide that there were additional difficulties. We have daughters, we have members of our family who are wounded. How can I convince them now that after their mother died, you will not be with them? You will not be next to them. You will leave them in their hospital beds and go and continue working. I was very honest with them. I will tell you very frankly, I was very honest with my children. And even in these moments, they told me, we are with you. We will either die together or live together, continue together.
يعني لا أخفيكم بأن
Very honestly, this gave me a lot of strength to keep moving, to continue. The story that came out of the Gaza Strip, and we were the few who remained in Gaza actually to tell this story. But I can tell you that there are millions of people around the globe waiting to hear this story, this message, this voice. This meant a great responsibility for us. That is why we had to continue with this mission. And of course, after having full faith in God, we came back every time we were targeted, when the family was targeted, when our house was destroyed, when our offices were destroyed, and when I was targeted personally and lost my friend Samer Abu Daqqa in the process, and when my son Hamza died at the same time. Every time I lived the same pain, but the same answer was my answer every time, and that is to go back to my camera, to my microphone, and most importantly, to come back in a balanced way, in a professional way, in a strong way, without any emotions, but to continue playing this humanitarian, this human, noble role to reach the world in all professionalism. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Wael, for the service that you have given, and you've really given new meaning to courage, bravery, and service to journalism. Motaz, you and I have spoken in the past, soon after you left Gaza. The Committee to Protect Journalists has said that this is one of the most dangerous and deadliest years in journalism because of the number of journalists that have been killed in Gaza. I mean, like Wael, you too have experienced loss of your family, your friends, and you continue to cover the conflict there.
First, thank you, Elda. I want to take a few seconds to take Your Highness, Your Excellency Sheikh Mohammed, and every Qatari citizen for their support and help for me to connect and reach the world to speak about my cause and the ongoing genocide in Gaza. So thank you from my heart. What CBJ talk about is they have a few numbers. It's not the accurate number because now in Gaza, who is on the ground, it's the citizen journalists. More than the official journalists. Because we experienced the whole things from the first days, and a lot of who was on the ground, who got injured, he evacuated his family, so most of them now who are just like the citizen journalists with a few official journalists for the TV channels. So now the number of journalists who got killed, more than 180. In day 60 in Gaza City, I asked for international protection for myself because I start to receive phone calls from No Caller ID to tell me what to do or not to do, where to go, or you should show something else, and you may lose your life. And also the threats and the bombing in my neighbor and the loss of my relatives, more than 25. So it was all challenging for you to continue your work on the ground. And in the last days, it's not about just showing the world, it's about to survive, because days before I leave, the Israeli tanks was at the end of my street, and it's now you should work to find water, food, a tent to use if they invaded your area, what you will do. And your house is now not your house. It's like a shelter for more than 40 people. And every house also like in Gaza. I'm living now in Deir al-Balah, and more than 1,800,000 people now in this area. We used to have just 50,000 people in this area, which was so crowded. Imagine now more than 1,800,000 people, and they just all on the beach with their tents. And now it's winter, and there is no there's no access for clean water. There is no access for medicine. There is no access for flour to eat. And now it's winter. So it's not only just about you as a journalist, it's about your life. Because you're not just an international journalist who do your mission and leave and you get paid, that's it. No, it's your home. What is happening, it's happening to your family, to your friends. Like I'm a journalist, but I lost 16 of my friends. And during my work on the ground, you go to document something, you find your friends under the rubble. So should I just document them, or should I leave my camera on the side and try to grab them from under the rubble, because there is no machines with the civil defense? So it's unimaginable situation for journalists. You can't be just a journalist there.
Motaz, thank you so much. Christina, Carmen. Christina, Carmen, Dylan, you were all in southern Lebanon together. We saw on the video when there was an attack. And Christina, you are now living with those injuries. Just tell us about that moment, that day. I mean, I think us journalists, we go to places and we don't assume that something is going to happen. You do feel protected.
First of all, let me start by saying thank you to Your Highness and to Qatar. I grew up here. I lived for 15 years here, so it means a lot to receive this recognition from Qatar, who I consider my second homeland. October 13 it still feels surreal. It was such a horrific day. However, everything was calm at first. There was no danger. We felt safe because we weren't really at the front line. Everything that was happening, it was happening in Gaza, on the other side. So we felt safe, especially that we followed all precautions. We know that, and after the 2 attacks with a machine gun as well, which feels like a Hollywood movie in a way, we lost our dear friend, Sam, who's also a Reuters journalist, and I am here today because he took all the impact, and that's how I managed to survive, even though I had 50% chance of living, and I was 2 weeks in induced coma. It's been a year, I'm still in a wheelchair, and I still need another year to start walking. However, I just can't wait for that day, because that's how we will get back our justice. As our colleagues... Thank you. As Mataz and Wael were saying, when something that bad and extreme happens to you, you have 2 options. Either you give up and you say, okay, right now I'm a victim and that's it. My entire life changed. Or you keep fighting until the day you actually stand up, hold your camera, and do what you love. Because that's our duty and that's our job. We didn't choose to become journalists just for the fame. I personally was behind the camera, and I really don't like being in front of the camera. But after what happened to us, I felt like there's a need to keep speaking up, sharing our story for me, for us, for Isam, and all our colleagues who've been targeted this year while they were asleep, or their families, like in different horrific ways. Thank you again for this recognition. It means a lot, and hopefully next year I will be walking. Thank you.
Thank you. And Carmen, you went back to work very, very soon after the attack. Tell me about that.
Well, before talking about the comeback, thank you, Your Highness, for the award. Thank you for bringing us all together in the Doha Forum. It means a lot to me. This award means a lot to me. Because this is an acknowledgement for all the work and contribution that I've done during the coverage since October 7 with Al Jazeera. Certainly, I couldn't have done that without Al Jazeera's support, without the support of Your Excellency, Mr. Sheikh Hamad bin Thamir al-Thani. Well, actually, since day one, since I was at the hospital, I got the question, are you coming back? And I said, I just need the doctor's approval. And it was so clear for me. I don't see myself as a victim. I don't see myself as a survivor. I'm a journalist. I was attacked because I'm a journalist. And I will come back to the field as a journalist, respecting all the norms, all the values. And the comeback was very meaningful, not only for me, but for the people. Whenever they see me, they're like run to tell me their stories. And a few days ago, I was like surrounded by the rubble in the south of Lebanon. And those stories we heard, the attacks we witnessed for like 14 months, it was huge. And the loss, I mean, I cannot even describe the loss we witnessed, we saw actually during these 14 months. When I chose being a journalist, for me this is not a job. For me this is like even more than a career you choose. This is a way of life. This is a way of perceiving things. You know, journalists see things differently than others do. So coming back to the field, and especially with what happened in the last 3 months in Lebanon, was extremely important for me. Was extremely important to put up in front of everybody the truth, to give voice to those voiceless, and to say, nobody can tame my voice. And especially when our footage from the south of Lebanon, when the Israelis used the white phosphorus, this footage was asked by international NGOs investigating in this usage. And they used Al Jazeera's footage from several places, and it was a very important document. Now we're documenting, we're informing people, each and every one of us, about what's happening, either in the south of Lebanon or in Gaza. It's the same for all of us. And there's another side. When you see all your colleagues being killed, being targeted, for example, Eli Brachia, the cameraman who was with me, got injured, and I didn't have the chance to think but to help him and save him and to take him to the hospital. This is the only thought I had. And when we were covering this war in the last few months, in October, our colleagues were sleeping. They killed 3 of them, and others got injured as well. So this didn't stop. And I know it's hard to change the reality. It's so hard for us to change the reality. But we need to document this. We need to say no for this. Impunity should stop. And stopping the impunity starts with each and every step every single one of us does. From our perspective as journalists, we need to document these atrocities, especially for civilians. They need to be heard, and their stories need to be heard. So this is the major role for us. It's going to be hard for us. It's going to be hard for our families, of course. But this is a choice you make. And thankfully, my family respect this choice and support me. So I will continue covering. And I will never stop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dylan, you were injured on that day in October in southern Lebanon, but you were also injured in Ukraine when you were covering the war in those early days. And we mustn't forget the journalists there, the local journalists who continue to cover that conflict and continue to be in the line of fire.
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like also to thank the State of Qatar and Your Highness Amir for the generous gift and for this recognition. It's a huge honor. Yeah, I was wounded about 3 months before we were hit in October on the outskirts of Bakhmut by a Russian Lancet drone. And I guess what this past year has really underlined for me is just how dangerous our job can be. I lost several friends in Ukraine. I lost several friends in Gaza. I lost friends in Lebanon. I think sadly, it's never been more dangerous of a time to be a journalist. We've watched this press vest, this label of press on our chest. It's supposed to protect us, and it's sadly turned us into a target. We've seen more than 100 journalists in Gaza targeted by Israeli strikes and killed. I'm a cameraman. I'm not super comfortable talking, but I think what I do know is that when they're trying to turn your cameras off, it means that there's something worth covering. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you. And finally, Sadaf, you've just arrived from Kabul. You said that it's one of the first time you've left the country, and it's increasingly difficult not just to be a journalist in Afghanistan, but a woman in Afghanistan with so many restrictions. Just talk us through briefly about some of the challenges that you face.
Thank you. First, I want to say thanks for Qatar and also the Emir of Qatar, also organizer of these events. Yeah, that's my first time that I left Kabul or Afghanistan and coming here. Because of that, I to say thanks for all of you to support us, and also member of Mobi Group, special leadership and management of Mobi Group to support us. That's not easy to us to work in this situation, but I want to say something. Don't about just my own problems or situation. I just say about my country, and also world know about situation of Afghanistan. I know all of them is involved in situation of Afghanistan, and they know everything about Afghanistan. In this event, I just say them, don't forget Afghanistan and people of Afghanistan. Also, in this situation, I like to say we need support. We need to be in the world and be alive. Also, just we want that organizations or the countries they support Afghans, not just something special or someone special. Just don't forget Afghanistan peoples. You know about situation or about challenging, about everything that's going in Afghanistan. And thank you for you and all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please thank our very brave journalists for speaking to us about their stories. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Yalda, and thank you to all the award recipients, Mahmoud, Mu'taz, Dylan, Carmen, Sadaf, and Christina. And once again, congratulations. Such inspiring words, such bravery, such grit. Next, a keynote speaker who needs absolutely no introduction, but I will still attempt a short one. She is a community college educator, a teacher, and an author. And if you still wonder who she is, here's another hint. Back in 1977, when she married a certain senator from Delaware, who would go on to become the 46th President of the United States, she said that she knew it would be a life in the spotlight that she had never sought or wanted, and she was right. First, as Second Lady for 8 years, and then as First Lady for 4 years. And of course, First Lady of the United States, that is. She has had a lifetime in the spotlight, and she has put it to good use to focus on all the issues that are closest to her heart, from education to health. While urging Americans after the recent election to put their disunity behind them and to unite for a brighter future. Please welcome Dr. Jill Biden.
Good morning. Your Highness, it is an honor to be here with you. And I have been overwhelmed by the generosity and warm welcome that you and the people of Qatar have shown me on my visit. On behalf of my husband, the President Biden, and Joe, thank you for your kindness and your warm welcome here on my visit. And I'm glad to be with so many heads of state and leaders from across the globe here in Doha. Yesterday, I visited the Qatar Foundation, which has a magnificent view of Education City. Looking out at all the world-renowned learning institutions, I thought of the incredible minds and cultures and ideas coming together. And I appreciate Her Highness Sheikh Mosa's leadership in an area we both deeply care about, education. As First Lady, I continue to teach writing at a community college. And in my classes, we talk about stories and how our stories shape our world. The stories can divide us. They can isolate us and make us fearful. But stories can also help us to connect us to one another and inspire us to join hands for a better future. That's the story unfolding on the campus of Weill Cornell Medicine here in Qatar. innovation through cooperation. Yesterday, I met a medical student who is studying why the risk of ovarian cancer goes up with a particular gene mutation. Another student is designing a surgical device that can clean the lens of a camera during an operation without removing it from the patient's body. That will make surgeries more precise. It's promising work. But what fills me with even more hope is meeting with people who are powering those discoveries. Students from Qatar and countries from around the world at an American academic institution located right here in Doha, uncovering health breakthroughs that have the potential to improve people's lives in this region and globally. This year's Doha Forum is focused on innovation imperative. I believe the first imperative for innovation is cooperation. People of all backgrounds and expertise working side by side, creating something better than we could have alone. As First Lady of the United States, I have had the opportunity to travel the world, from Japan to Ecuador, from Namibia to Ukraine. Everywhere I go, I am reminded that our differences are precious and our similarities infinite. Still, on those trips, there have been some who ask me, why visit a drought in Africa? Why meet with wounded warriors in the United Kingdom? Why visit refugees in Romania? But if we are reminded of anything during the COVID-19 pandemic, it is this: diseases do not recognize borders. Neither does hunger, poverty, or violence. We are all connected. Even when times are tough, we share a responsibility to come together. And whether it is fighting disease or working for peace in the region, we must bridge divides so that all people may live with dignity and security. President Biden, my husband, understands that there isn't one leader, one government, or one country that can go it alone, not in a world as interwoven as ours. The world challenges aren't only ours to endure together, they are ours to solve together. That can be this generation's story, one of cooperation, understanding, and opportunity. Consider climate change. The consequences of extreme heat, droughts, melting glaciers, and typhoons reverberate around the world. But so too could new technologies with the power to reduce carbon emissions, address water scarcity, and make communities more resilient. It will take all of us committing to change, sharing our best ideas, and creating innovations that reach everyone just as fast and as far as any wildfire or ocean wave. Another area that's ready for innovation is women's health research. Globally, women tend to live longer than men, but we spend 25% more time in poor health. Innovations are happening all around the world to close the health gap. Imagine a blood test, the first of its kind, that can reduce the time it takes for women to get a diagnosis for a debilitating disease like endometriosis. Or think about the benefits of uncovering why Alzheimer's is more common in women than in men. This work isn't just up to scientists and researchers. Governments, academia, the private sector, and NGOs all have to coordinate to make sure that the benefits of innovative research reach the people who need them. Your Highness, I am here in Doha as part of my final foreign trip as the First Lady of the United States. In the coming years and months, I will continue to help close the gap in women's health research. And as the leaders in this room will always have a partner in me to move forward life-saving and world-changing innovations that improve our world. This imperative is to join together. It is not our burden, it is our opportunity. So let us build strong partnerships and innovate our way to better health, opportunity, and prosperity for all. A brighter world can be our story to tell. So let's write it together. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Highness.
Thank you, Dr. Biden, for highlighting the many challenges that unite us all, from the world's wealthiest nation on earth to the poorest, and that require joint efforts to solve them. Could I now please ask you all to remain seated as we embark onto our opening panel discussion, aptly titled Conflict Resolution in a New Era. It is my pleasure to invite to the stage His Excellency, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdurrahman bin Jassim al-Thani, Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar. It is also my distinct pleasure to invite His Excellency Espen Barth Eide, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Norway. And last but not least, may I invite Minister of External Affairs of the Government of India. CNN's Chief International Anchor, Christian Amanpour.
Why don't you sit here, Your Highness? I have Minister and Foreign Excuse me, let's get a mic. Okay, welcome. It's great to be here. And I would just also like to add my personal congratulations to those fantastic journalists who were honored and really respected today. Welcome to the First Lady of the United States and to everybody else. So, as we know, this conference is built around the themes of, as we've just said, diversity and innovation, and how to try to fix